So if you ever wanted to see Nikola Tesla perform Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears, well, I guess you're in the right place. Tesla is brought to us by director Michael Almerida and stars Ethan Hawke as Nikola Tesla. We get to see how Tesla began working for Thomas Edison, played by Kyle MacLachlan, and after a bit of a fallout, went out to blaze his own trail. We witness his success with Westinghouse and see how he grew as the world's premier inventor in the electrical field, and how he eventually works his way up to attempt to create what is known as the Tesla coil and give the world as a whole free energy and communication. This version of Tesla's life is told in a bit of a different way. I'd say for the most part, it is what you expect, a period piece about Tesla's life. However, it has a very unique and interesting way that it tells its story, using an odd mix of old and new that's just enough out there to keep you interested, but not too far out there to lose you. And when I say old and new, I mean new things that didn't exist back then, but in this setting. And it's kind of random. There's just random scenes where someone will be sitting there in like a late 1800s bar and pull out a fucking cell phone and just start looking at it, scrolling through Twitter or something. Or our narrator, Anne, played by Eve Hewson, who will randomly pull out a laptop and start talking about Googling people's names. These things are never brought to the forefront of the story. They're always either in the background where nobody comments on them, or they're with the narrator when she's sitting there talking to us, the viewer. But they're really odd at first. But if you listen to the movie and what it has to say about Nikola Tesla and how he dreams about the future, I think that these items in the movie have a greater significance that we don't see at first. I don't think the movie is saying these things are actually there. In fact, a lot of the scenes in this movie, as they play out, you find out this never really happened. It's more of a what-if situation. And a lot of the times that these things show up, it's in those scenes. So it's already kind of a fantasy at that point in these specific scenes. So I don't want to say too much and spoil why I think that these things show up in this movie. I think that there is a deeper meaning and relevance to them being there. And the randomness of a 19th century maid in the background of a scene that busts out a Dyson vacuum cleaner to start cleaning up a ballroom is just out there enough to make you say, what the fuck is going on here? I've got to keep watching this. Really, this movie seems like it should be kind of boring, but it's not. There's something so intriguing about it that I just couldn't stop watching it. The story is a fairly basic, quick run through of Tesla's life, and a lot of it concerns him sitting around talking to people about how he's going to get his inventions out there to the world. There are some interesting historical tidbits that show up here or there, like the first man to ever be electrocuted and how he and Edison played into that, but for the most part, this is not a huge exciting story, but the way that it is told is just so intriguing. The visual style of the movie is what just really catches your eye and keeps you interested as well. A lot of the times for their background, they will use real life vintage photos or video as the background. It's not like they try and hide it and make it look like it's real. It's pretty clear that that's what it is. Like if it's a picture, none of it's moving or anything and it's just blown up. It's not like they're trying to hide the fact that that's what it is. This is a very distinct visual style that they were going for. It's just like a big vintage black and white picture that has something to do with what the narrator may have just been talking about. And we see Tesla or whoever come walking right past it or through it with some really creative lighting on it. It does this quite a few times in the movie, and I just thought it was a really interesting way to insert this true-to-life history into the film. It's very visually striking and artistic and probably won't be for everybody. And while it does show up quite a few times in the movie, it doesn't take up a lot of screen time overall. In fact, all the little odd things they did in the movie, like the new stuff showing up, or like the pictures and the video in the background, or the narrator that is based in the late 1900s talking to us as if she has knowledge of 2020, all these odd little choices, yes, they're there, but the vast majority of the movie does play it kind of straight-laced period piece. All the neat little artistic oddities in the world, though, couldn't keep this type of movie afloat if the performances didn't stack up. And thankfully, they do. Everybody here does a fantastic job, but the two standouts are definitely going to be Ethan Hawke as Nikola Tesla and Kyle MacLachlan as Thomas Edison. Hawke does a great job of showing how Tesla was quite the introvert, but he was thrust into these situations where he had to open up at least a little bit, and how uncomfortable that clearly made it. And also the fact of how, as he grew in popularity and success, his eccentricities grew as well. It seems like he becomes more and more eccentric as the years go on, but I don't really think think that's the case. I think the guy was probably always pretty eccentric, but he just kind of kept it to himself. As he became more successful, I think it just gave him the freedom to come out with his more eccentric intricity. And while Ethan Hawke is great here, I really gotta commend Kyle MacLachlan for Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison is typically portrayed as an evil capitalist nowadays. And on paper, when compared to Nikola Tesla, yes, he is kind of the bad guy to Tesla's good guy. Tesla wanted to give the world energy and power and all that stuff for pretty much free. And Edison was a businessman and wanted to profit off the whole thing. Me, myself, personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to profit off of your inventions. However, when coupled next to someone who's saying, I just want to give it all away free, of course he looks like the bad guy. Now, there is talk in the real world of Edison having stolen some of Tesla's ideas. That doesn't really come up in the movie. It's hinted at just a bit, but it doesn't ever really come up. They don't touch that. What I do like that they did was they didn't portray Edison as just outright evil. They showed him as a man who, yes, he is a capitalist. He is here to make money. He is a business runner and owner. But he is also a scientist just like Tesla. Thomas Edison was not stupid. He did invent things. He was an inventor. And the movie doesn't forget that. It shows that, yes, he was here to make money, but he was also an inventor, and he was creative, and he was interested in these things that Tesla was doing. The movie does show some of the actions he did in bad light. However, it doesn't totally vilify him, and I thought that was a refreshing take for nowadays. You can, at times, actually sympathize with this character and understand where he was coming from. After all is said and done, I really enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I was when I first started it. I've always been interested in Nikola Tesla and even Thomas Edison. Both of them were great minds and provided this world with things that changed it fundamentally. And while their story as a whole may be interesting, it's not always the most interesting story to tell. Although here they hit just that right balance of straight-laced seriousness and really odd moments. And the creative and unique visual style that they use will keep you totally invested all the way to the end and makes Tesla totally worth a rent.
All he wanted was this.
I have to return some videotape.
I did not think that I was going to like this movie as much as I did. Well, yes, I am interested in Tesla's life. Let's be real, these types of movies aren't always the most interesting things to watch. But here they did a fantastic job of keeping you interested. So if you have any interest in Tesla at all, then give this one a shot one night. I don't think you'll be disappointed. So there it is, guys, my review of Tesla. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Philadelphia.
The world we are living in is a dream that Tesla dreamed first.
So with the odd stuff in this movie, I said that they never really took it too far. And that's true for the most part, but there is one part. I'm not gonna say that they took it too far, but they came real fucking close. It's just a really bizarre moment, real close to the end. I'm not gonna ruin it, but I'm just gonna say that there is a character that starts to sing a song. And it's just really fucking weird. The whole scene is just really odd. I mean, it's done like it's on a stage, and it's got modern technology, but the character's not modern. It's just really fucking weird, and it goes on for a few minutes, and it just comes out of fucking nowhere. It's almost too much, but then it goes on with the rest of the movie, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm good. But admittedly, for a moment there, I got kind of scared and thought that this was about to turn into fucking Moulin Rouge. And if Christina Aguilera just showed up on screen, I was turning this shit the fuck off.